Day 9. The first connection. The 9th day began with a sense of anticipation hanging in the air. The group had settled into their routines, but there was an underlying current of excitement as they prepared to tackle the day's tasks. Amora awoke early, her mind still buzzing from the events of the previous day. She couldn't stop thinking about Ethan, about the way he had looked at her in the clearing, about the way his presence seemed to fill the space around her in a way that was both comforting and exhilarating. She made her way to the stream to wash up, hoping the cool water would clear her head. But as she knelt by the water's edge, she saw Ethan approaching, his face breaking into a smile as he saw her. "Good morning," he said, his voice warm and familiar. "Good morning," Amora replied, trying to keep her tone light even as her heart raced at the sight of him. They stood by the stream for a moment, the sound of the water flowing over the rocks filling the silence between them. It was a comfortable silence, but charged with the same unspoken tension that had been growing between them since the previous day. Ethan finally broke the silence, his voice soft. "Amora, I wanted to talk to you about something." Amora's heart skipped a beat. "What is it?" He hesitated for a moment, as if searching for the right words. I feel like there's something happening between us. Something that's more than just friendship." Amora felt her breath catch in her throat. She had felt it too, but hearing him say it out loud made it real in a way that sent a shiver down her spine. "I've been feeling it too," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan smiled, a look of relief and happiness washing over his face. "I'm glad you feel the same way. I wasn't sure if it was just me." Amora shook her head, a smile tugging at her lips. "It's not just you." For a moment, they simply stood there, the space between them charged with the weight of what they had just admitted. The world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them standing by the stream, the water flowing serenely between them. Ethan took a step closer, his hand reaching out to gently cup her cheek. His touch was warm, his thumb brushing lightly against her skin as he looked into her eyes. "Amora," he murmured, his voice filled with emotion. "I don't know what the future holds for us, but I know that I want to face it with you." Amora felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, her heart swelling with a mixture of joy and fear. She had never imagined feeling this way, especially not in this strange, new world they had found themselves in. But as she looked into Ethan's eyes, she knew that she didn't want to deny what was growing between them. "I want that too," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I want to be with you." Ethan smiled, a look of pure happiness lighting up his face. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted to. But Amora didn't move. Instead, she closed the distance between them, her heart racing as their lips met in a soft, tentative kiss. The kiss was gentle at first, a sweet exploration of something new and fragile. But as their lips moved together, the connection between them deepened, growing more intense and more urgent. It was as if all the emotions they had been holding back over the past week were pouring out into that single moment, binding them together in a way that words never could. When they finally pulled apart, they were both breathless, their foreheads resting against each other as they tried to steady their racing hearts. "Wow," Amora whispered, her voice shaky with emotion. Ethan chuckled softly, his breath warm against her skin. "Yeah. Wow." They stood there for a moment longer, savoring the closeness between them. The world around them seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with the promise of something new and exciting. Finally, Ethan pulled back slightly, his eyes searching hers. "I know we have a lot to figure out, but I want you to know that I'm here for you, Amora. Whatever happens, we'll face it together." Amora nodded, her heart swelling with love and gratitude. Together. They returned to the camp, hand in hand, their hearts light with the joy of their newfound connection. The others noticed the change between them immediately, but no one said anything. There was a shared understanding that this was something special, something that belonged to Ethan and Amora alone. The rest of the day passed in a blur of activity. Ethan and Amora worked together on reinforcing the shelter, their hands brushing occasionally as they passed each other tools or shared a quiet laugh. The connection between them was still new, still fragile, but it was growing stronger with each passing moment. As the sun began to set, casting a warm golden light over the camp, Ethan and Amora found themselves alone again. They sat by the fire, their shoulders brushing as they watched the flames dance in the fading light. "Today was a good day," Ethan said, his voice soft. Amora nodded, leaning her head against his shoulder. "Yes, it was." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, the fire crackling softly in the background. The world around them seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something momentous to happen. Finally, Ethan turned to Amora, his eyes filled with a mixture of love and determination. "Amora, I don't want to rush things, but I also don't want to waste any more time. I know that life here is unpredictable, but I want to spend every moment I can with you." Amora felt a tear slip down her cheek, her heart overflowing with emotion. "I want that too, Ethan. I want to be with you, no matter what happens." Ethan reached out and took her hand, his grip warm and reassuring. "Then let's face the future together. Whatever it holds, we'll face it as a team." Amora smiled through her tears, her heart filled with a deep sense of contentment. "Together," she repeated, her voice filled with love. As the fire burned low and the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Ethan and Amora sat side by side, their hands intertwined. The world around them was still new, still uncertain, but they knew that as long as they had each other, they could face anything. The first blossoms of their romance had begun to bloom, and with them came the promise of a future filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities.